on the phone Bhaskar Sunkara. He is the founder of the Jacobin magazine, also a contributor to In These Times, and has written a piece in the Nation magazine, Letter to the Nation from a Young Radical. Full disclosure, I am a subscriber to the Jacobin. Welcome to the program, Bhaskar.
Really glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, all right, let's start with why you decided to write this piece in the Nation.
Why did I decide to pick the Nation as a venue, or?
Sure, exactly.
Right. So I hope this is coming through all right. The line might be breaking up a bit, but basically, I think that that with an intervention like this, I was really trying to reach a broader and more liberal audience. And I think the Nation's audience is in particular a little bit better than publications like Mother Jones and other publications like that, because a lot of their core audience, I think, are really just, in general, earnest social democrats. You know, they knew instinctively to be against the Iraq War. They have a very good reputation as far as being against American wars and interventions. And even on, issues like the intervention in Kosovo, where elements of the American left were really split and divided, I think the Nation came down the right side of those lines. But over the last few years, I think what was initially what I guess Victor Navatsky called the debating ground between liberals and radicals, I think has started to veer a little bit more into the liberal direction and didn't quite have this contested, debating ground. So I just very directly asked Katrina Van Newell, the editor of The Nation, whether she'd be interested in something, and she, was. And, to their credit, during the whole editing process, when I was, writing this piece, they wanted the criticisms to be, even more direct, and we ended up, with the piece that I wanted to write, and I think it made a bit of a stir in a good way. I think people generally appreciated getting something that was straightforwardly socialist and radical in a way without having to use euphemisms or whatever. And I think that's extremely important thing for this era, because I think we're used to as radicals and members of the American left speaking in euphemisms and doing our politics behind the veil of front groups. And it's good to be, direct about it.
Well, what do you mean by that? I mean, I want to get to sort of the distinctions between liberals and the left or radicals. But what do you mean by that, that in general you feel that radicals have spoken in euphemism?
Right. Well, I think that maybe after the fall of the Berlin Wall and just the devastation of the left as a whole, because the left in its two twin heads, social democracy and I guess those who tied themselves to official communism in a way. And I myself have always came out of an anti-Stalinist tradition. But, there was just really the sense that the welfare state was under attack by neoliberalism. We're living in an era where there was no alternative. Even the people who still had, some hope that the Soviet Union, it wasn't a great society, but at least it was something different. Those people, they were also dejected. I mean, the whole, scene left of liberalism was really just in a state where I guess people felt that it was more useful to, people questioned what use there was in even, labeling yourself a socialist when there wasn't even a social democracy or a reformist left to compare yourself to. So, I think we're living in a lot of ways in the era after the left, after the decay of the left, and we're trying right now as American radicals to try to rebuild what was lost and then see, where we can take it from there.
So let's, help us here with the distinctions. I mean, how do you, where do you perceive the difference between liberals and the left, or in liberals and radicals?
Right. Well, as I mentioned in the piece, the term liberalism is really kind of slippery and somewhat of a floating signifier. But what I mean by American liberalism, I'm basically referring to people that, if they were in Europe, they would call themselves social democrats. They're for the expansion of the welfare state. They're for decommodification, like taking out of the market very key elements of life, like our health care, our elderly care, education. Key components, and I think that's like a very very significant advances in many ways. What I mean by the left, the distinction I would draw is that the left has a stronger and more structural critique of capitalism as a whole. So, in a way, a good way to think about it would be people who are basically social democrats are trying to find bits and pieces of socialism within capitalism to make capitalism better. People on the socialist left, like myself, think that those reforms are a good thing, but we would like to see those reforms used as a stepping stone to more radical transformations. So, in other words, worker ownership of their our factories and our workplaces, the radical extension of political democracy, the growth of new participatory forms of democracy. So, in a sense, we want socialism after capitalism, not just within it.
And so you break down, you essentially say that, literally say, American liberalism is practically ineffective and analytically inadequate. And then you call for a jolt from its left as a prerequisite for its resurgence. So why is it at this time, is it practically ineffective and analytically inadequate? Is this something that's systemic? Is it something that is problematic with liberals' answers to what is more of a systemic problem than one that is, I guess, open to reform?
Right. Well, in the piece, I describe it as more of a systemic problem. And I think that a good way to think about liberalism might be to, think back to seventh grade biology class and think of it as a permeable membrane of some type. And at certain moments, maybe the liberalism of the New Deal, the liberalism of the 1960s, these were moments when liberalism moved to the left and embraced many critiques that one would normally associate with radicalism. And there was other moments, of course, when liberalism, were fellow travelers with war and with, cuts to the very welfare state that the New Deal coalition set into motion. If you look at the, this cheerleading, really, among segments of the liberal coalition for even something like Bill Clinton's welfare reform and things like that, you would see some of the darker moments of liberalism. So, I think it's rooted partially in the fact that I historicize it a bit, and I say that at its core, a lot of these liberal notions and liberal ideals, the liberal style, if you will, is rooted in a 18th century Enlightenment fantasy of the Republic of Letters. And that basically paints politics as a salon discussion between polite people with competing ideas. So there's this fantasy that when ideas are argued by wise and well-intentioned people, the best one are assumed to prevail in the end. And I think that the Marxist critique has normally been more, have accounted a bit more for the way interests and passions and power really mark our lives.